So guys, today we're going to talk about sleep training or training for babies who don't manage to fall asleep by themselves and also wake up at night many times crying and expecting for parents to come. So if you're having a problem like this video is for you. So guys, before we start, I just have a disclaimer here. This video is going to be only telling you about my experience. I am no doctor, I am no psychologist. I have no official formation to be telling you what you need to do. I'm just sharing here my experience with my 3 kids. My name is Ricardo. I live in Germany with my wife and, as I said, with my 3 kids. They are now 9, 5 and 2 years old. So I've passed this period, but especially with my first kid, my first daughter, we had a hard time sleeping at night in the first months. Well, not the first months, I mean until the 3rd month. It was actually okay. She was still very little, so she used to fall asleep easier. My wife breastfed until I think she was over a year, until late. But the problem with the sleeping came actually around 4 to 5 months. I mean, my daughter, until 6 months, she had reflux, which made her sleep harder. I mean, she used to wake up. Reflux for you to don't, if you don't know, is the milk that the baby drinks. There's a part here of the esophagus, I think. It's not really complete shut. So the milk, the digested milk from the stomach comes back up, and usually when the baby is already sleeping. So the baby lays down and then the milk, the digested milk, which is acid, comes back up and then just hurts here on her throat, and it's not a nice feeling. But besides that, we had also the problem that she was having a hard time falling asleep by herself after 4 to 5 months. She got used to, in the 3rd, 4th month, she got used to sleeping while breastfeeding. So we started being, in the beginning was okay. She used to breastfeed, and then we used to bring her to bed without shaking so much. Put her in bed. She usually kept sleeping. Sometimes she woke up at night. She wanted to breastfeed again, which is okay. It's normal in this age. But after the 5th month, when we were putting her to bed, she was starting to wake up and started crying again. So my wife had to start the breastfeeding again, even though she was not hungry. And sometimes we noticed also that she by herself, my daughter, she wanted to sleep, but she needed the breast to be able to fall asleep. And then we read some books, and then we took the decision to try something. It was, I don't know if nowadays there are some new books in the market. I haven't looked at it, but back then was 9 years ago. There were some books about teaching the kids, leaving the kid to cry out so that baby learns by himself to fall asleep. This was not the road that we took. Just want to say that we don't believe at all in the idea of leaving the baby or kids in bed by themselves crying. We do know some parents who done this in the past, that they leave the baby crying in the room, dark, close the door and just go out. We don't believe that this is a good method. Sometimes it gets so hard that the parents, they just need some fresh air. This I understand, when there is a need, before they maybe start getting aggressive with the baby, that they get out of the room. This I understand, but on purpose to leave the baby in the room crying as a method of teaching the baby how to sleep, we don't believe that. We've never done it, and we don't recommend to anybody. There was another book that we read that we decided to try. We adapted more or less our way, but the idea was that you're not training. I don't like this name, sleep training. We were actually teaching the kid or the baby to be able to fall asleep by himself. In my case, by herself. So the idea is that you put the baby in bed, almost sleeping, not sleeping yet, but you can hold the baby a little bit until the baby almost falls asleep with you, or even with the breastfeeding, doesn't matter. But you put the baby in bed, what's gonna happen? The baby's gonna cry because the baby wants to sleep on the breast. Then you talk to the baby a little bit, pick up the baby. The baby's not gonna stop crying by himself or herself right away. So you pick up the baby, you do some cuddling, talk to the baby a little bit, and tell the baby, hey, now it's time to go to sleep. You're gonna manage to fall asleep. I'm sure you're gonna manage. And then you hold a little bit the baby a little bit more. Wait a little bit until the baby calms down, and then you repeat it again. So you put the baby again in bed. Probably the baby is gonna cry again. You calm down, pick up the baby, and just cuddle it. In my opinion, it's important to talk to the baby, even if you think that the baby is not understanding you. As I said in another video before, in my opinion, babies, they understand a lot more than what you think or what we think. So we always had this, let's say, policy or this habit of talking to our kids since they are very young, since they're in an age that you're gonna be sure, okay, the baby doesn't understand, but we always talk to them, try to explain to them what's going on. So in this case, I remember with her, it was the first time that we tried this pick up, put down. My wife she's like, okay, I cannot anymore. The baby was waking up many times at night, and I myself also noticed this is not what the baby wanted. The baby, or she, wanted to be able to fall asleep. Sometimes she was sleepy and she wanted just to keep sleeping. Because what happens is at night, the babies wake up and they don't manage to fall asleep by themselves again. So what they do, they cry because they need sometimes it's the pacifier. In this case, it was the breast. I think my daughter didn't take a pacifier back then. She didn't want, yeah. So she was always falling asleep on the breast, like I said, by the 4th, 5th month. And then when we started trying this, the first night took almost 1 hour. Actually, it took 1 whole hour. So it was many times picking her up, waiting for her to calm down. Don't put her back in bed if she's still agitated, because it's hard for babies in this age to be able to calm down themselves. So you pick them up, wait for them to calm down, just cuddle a little bit, and they're gonna be crying like this. Wait for them to calm down. Don't wait for them to fall completely asleep on you. They should be calm, but still kind of awake. Doesn't have to be completely awake. In this phase, when they calm down, they're gonna be almost sleeping for sure. You put them in bed, and then you keep repeating it. The first time it took 1 whole hour for us, and in the end we put her in bed. She was so tired that she managed to sleep by herself without the breast. It's not an easy experience because you have your baby there, especially if it's the first baby. You have your baby there, you see that the baby's crying, but you have to be strong. Well, you don't have to be. This is what we told ourselves, that we needed to be strong for her to learn. We're doing this for a good cause, for my wife, and also for the baby. So we were like, okay, we're doing this, the baby's crying, but we know why. I mean, you have to go in already with your mind set, okay, this is the goal, this is what I'm doing. You put this in your head. Not an easy task to do. So this was the first night. And then the second night we tried again. It took 30 minutes. It was half the time, and after 30 minutes. And we noticed also that her crying was not so strong as the first night. It was a little bit less. And it took 30 minutes. The third night took 10 minutes. After the fourth night, I think it only took 3 nights. Maybe the fourth night she cried and we needed to pick up once more. I don't remember exactly because it has been a while. But these times, 1 hour, 30 minutes and 10 minutes, this I remember very well. And then after that, our nights were better. The baby's nights were better, and this detachment from the breast, or from this breastfeeding and sleep, then after 1 week it was gone. So she could breastfeed and she was still awake, and then it was time to go to bed, and she went to bed, and then there was really no problem. I mean, there was absolutely no trauma for the baby. We didn't have to do for the other kids because they took the pacifier, and somehow we managed with pacifier, and the breastfeeding was a little bit different. We did it a little bit earlier, and we knew also, okay, when this thing was starting to the baby to fall asleep, and so my wife did something different. She woke up the baby and put the baby when the baby was not sleeping. We started a little bit earlier maybe, I don't remember exactly how we did, and the other kids were easier, especially my middle one. He didn't have reflux at all. The third one had again, but he has always been a good sleeper, so with him there was no problem at all. But especially with the first one was hard. So this is wanted to give you our experience with this problem. If you're going through this experience again, also the book that we read, I don't remember exactly the name of the book, but the method is called pick up, put down. I don't know if it's still popular today. What we never do, or what we never wanted to do, was to leave the baby crying by himself or by herself. We didn't want our baby to feel scared. So this is a learning phase. I understand this is not easy for the baby. We also have learning phases in when we are adults, but it's different if the baby is crying because it's trying to learn a new skill, or if the baby is crying because it's scared, because the baby is scared in a bed that the baby cannot leave and it's dark. When we are teaching the kid to sleep, we stay in the room with him or her. We stay there beside her. Sometimes we cuddle. Yeah, that's true. We kept our hand on her belly, that she knew when she was in bed. We put her in bed. We kept our hand either on her belly or on her head, but we kept our hand there for her to fall asleep, but she was not alone at all at any time. But we were putting her in her little bed to sleep, but we never left the room, only after she fell asleep. So if you're thinking of leaving the kid alone, maybe you try this pick up, put down method first, to stay with the baby, to cuddle, not to cuddle, but to keep your hand somewhere on the baby, that the baby feels okay, you were there, it's safe for the baby to fall asleep. He or she is not alone in the dark. Maybe you could try this method first. With us, after 3-4 days, it worked fine. The baby was not traumatized at all. This was the message that I wanted to give you in this video. I hope you liked it. If you're gonna try, just comment the video below how your experience was, so I can also read and reply. And let me know also if you like the video, if you like the topic, if you have some other topics related to it that you'd like to discuss. Just let me know and I can make another video about it if I have some experience in this area. Thank you very much. You can leave me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.